Are you guys up for a challenge? Well, when I was asked to be in Debi Beard's Thrifting challenge, how could I pass it up? I love challenges and I love thrifting, so it was the perfect mix. I agreed to do it. I was super excited, and then I saw the date that I agreed to, which was the 27th of September. And if you guys follow my channel, you will know that I am hosting my very first retreat. And it is a two-part event. So it is a vendor event and that's the market. And then I also have my retreat. So you guys, I had a lot of balls juggling, and I was like, nope. I put myself up to this challenge and I can always make time for thrifting. So that is what I did. So I'm gonna bring you along, show you what I found, and then we're gonna talk about the challenge at the end. So I was challenged to find two really unique or weird things at the thrift store and upcycle them or make them into something amazing. Or maybe I don't understand what the challenge was. Just kidding. Just kidding. Anyways, so the first thing I found was a bowling pin. And you may be thinking, why in the world did you buy a bowling pin? Well, let me tell you. My mother was at the bins with me like a couple weeks ago, you guys. And this she makes friends with everyone, okay? So this other lady walks up to her and says, hey, look, I found this really cool wood bowling pin. It was like a vintage wood bowling pin and it had the number 10 on it. Do you want it? And I'm thinking, I hope she says no, because I wanted it. And I wasn't gonna sell it. I was gonna keep it for myself because I really like to find weird, quirky things like that and then put them into my home decor. Well, my mom, of course, kept it. So I found, well, second best, I guess. It's not wood and it is a bowling pin, and I just discovered it had a crack. But you guys, what I really love about this is that it has a lot of like dings and it's really cool. So guess what I'm doing today? I am going to replicate my mom's wood bowling pin. I'm gonna see if by using DIY paint, if I can make it look as authentic as hers did. Here's the pin, and I decided to start with faded burlap, and I thought this would be a really good base color. And so what I did is I applied one even coat over the entire piece. I let it dry, and then I went back to the original picture of my mom's pin, and I'm like, this is not the tone I want. I decided to regroup, go back into my DIY paint colors, and I came up with a secondary option. That option would be sandy blonde and prairie gray. I decided to start blending, and if you guys follow my channel, you will know this is not one of my strong suits by any means. So I am definitely stepping out of my comfort zone. So what I am doing here is I am adding a little bit of sandy blonde, a little bit of prairie gray. I'm going to mist it to kind of water it down a little bit, and then I'm going to mist the pen, and I am going to try to blend these colors into the faded burlap. I thought I was going to try to give it some, dimension and texture, and I was really starting to, I liked it. I really did. I was starting to really like the two-tone effect to it. And I decided once I got this paint on, I was gonna dry it again, go back, look at the photo again, and I still felt like it was missing something, you guys. So I regrouped, and I'm gonna show you what color I added to the pin to totally perfect it. It wasn't weathered wood, but I did have to show you that in between all of this, I did add a bit of weathered wood. I initially thought, you guys, that it needed something darker.
But I wanted to blend it a bit with the sandy blonde. And I just added a little bit here and there. I thought this is what it needed. It definitely wasn't. I then went back to the photo and I kept thinking, what color is in there that makes it look so different than all the colors that I'm using? And then it hit. It's more of an orangey tone. The pin has more of like that wood orangey tone. And so a light went off and I decided to use Summer Crush. Now, you guys, Summer Crush is by far one of my favorite fall colors and one of my top selling colors in fall as well. It's just such a beautiful orange. So what I decided to do here is I took a little bit of the Summer Crush, I added it to the plate, and basically there's a lot of that sandy blonde there. What I did is I misted it and then I intermixed that Summer Crush into the sandy blonde. I didn't want the Summer Crush to be like bam, orange in your face. I wanted it to just have that orangish tone to it, and it's exactly what I wanted. I was like, as I was adding a little bit here, a little bit there, and doing a couple more layers, I was like, this is exactly the look I was going for. I love how it turned out, and I then just needed to add those numbers. I wanted the numbers to really pop. So we're using Marquee, which is the perfect red, and then we're using the number 8, which is by far my favorite number, you guys. So if I had to say something that I didn't like about my mom's pin was that it did not have the number 8, and now I can customize mine. So I am using the number from the typesetting stamp set from IOD. I inked it up, I lined it up where I thought I wanted it, and I went all in. And I did exactly what I would do with the ink. I just took and put a light tapping around, or actually like I kind of like slightly rubbed all the way around, and it turned out perfect. The final step to this is that you want to seal it, and I'm using DIY's Big Top, and I'm going to apply 1 even coat of Big Top over the entire piece. And the last thing I did, which I did not get on camera because I did not hit record by accident, was I also used the dark DIY wax, and I just thought that that would get into like all those crevices and, you know, nicks, and just really make it look all the more vintage, and it did.
Do you know how many records are at the thrift store? A ton. But what are not at the thrift store are this size. So I think there's like the full size. I think this is called a 58. And then there's 45s. I'm trying to remember what they call the big one. Honestly. So I am having a retreat, which is next weekend, and I was trying to find real unique pieces to paint on and to create as a base. So there was a box and it had 46 albums in it, and I'm sorry, 56. I broke one in half, so we were down to 55. I took this one, we're down to 54. I thought, how hard could it be to find additional albums like this for my retreat? It was pretty hard. Thank goodness for my mom again, you guys, because she called what was called the half price bookstore in our area, and they had 58s, and I was able to get a pretty good deal. So I ended up finding all 60, so I was actually able to keep this one record because I wanted to show you how I am going to take DIY paint and create another piece for my home decor. Again, I'm always trying to find real unique pieces to put into my home decor, so this is another one.
the first thing I decided to do is blend again, you guys. I am doing it twice in one video. I'm using Bohemian Blue and Old 57, and I want to blend the two together. What I decided to do was start with a base of the Bohemian Blue. I am going to just do one even coat. I'm going to let that dry very thoroughly. Then we're going to come back and I'm going to add a second coat of the Bohemian Blue. And then I'm going to start blending in the Old 57. So here I have finished applying the second coat of the Bohemian Blue. I'm going to mist it and then I'm going to start blending in that Old 57. Now at my retreat, Debbie Frimmer from Elsie Lane Art Garage, she is actually teaching a blending class. She's going to teach how to properly blend on this Old 58. So I decided I'm going to take her class because after I started blending this, I ended up really liking how it came out. But I think, again, I can definitely get better at my blending skills. I really love mixed media and I like layering and adding just different textures and dimensions to my pieces. So what I'm using is the Kindest Regards stamp from IOD, and I am going to start off by stamping the entire album with that really beautiful font. Since IOD came out with the foil transfers, I have been slightly obsessed with them. And I thought right away, because the center of the record had a bit of gold, that I was going to add a bit of gold foil transfer. I decided to cut out this very large transfer. And then what I'm going to do is cut out the center and I'm going to apply the transfer around that really cool center of the record. Now, I did not seal the DIY paint, and IOD does recommend that you seal the paint before you apply a transfer. And I thought, I'm going to go all in. I'm just going to do it like this. And honestly, I think I should have sealed it because I got decent coverage, but I think it was a little bit more difficult to apply the transfer because the DIY paint with the foil transfer. But in the end, you guys, I still like the look of it. It almost reminded me of being like distressed and old looking, and the record is really old, so I thought it was absolutely perfect. I had a bit of fairy tale floral left over and it was just sitting on my table and I'm like, this would be perfect with this. I love these yellow flowers. I think they will go really great with that gold and pop off the blue. And so I just started adding a bit of that, the florals or the botanicals here and there. And then I decided, well, I think the pink would be good too. So I just kept on layering and adding where I thought it needed to be. And you guys, this just turned out so good. I absolutely love it. The last step is taking DIY's Big Top and applying one even coat over the entire piece. This not only seals the DIY paint, but it also seals the transfers, and you want to do both after your project is complete. Because it was a challenge, I should talk about what was challenging about it. I was overthinking. So I want to tell you that right away. I did a lot of overthinking, like, what is everybody else going to thrift? It has to be, I guess they said make it unique. And I'm like, is it unique enough? So finally, I spent 2 days at the thrift store. And yes,
I didn't have a lot of time yet. I had enough time to go thrifting for 2 days, you guys, but only for a couple hours each day. And it was several weeks prior to this event. So I'm not doing it last minute or anything. Anyways, so I was at the Goodwill bins, and I am just trying to find unique pieces. Like, that's what I was looking for. I found the bowling pin right away, and I fell in love with it, so I grabbed that. I wanted one more item, and I was digging, and you guys, I passed up the coolest thing. After I passed it up, I thought, oh my gosh, I should grab that. I turned back around and somebody else had grabbed it. So if you haven't been to the bins before, what they do is they bring out these big carts, they rotate, and everybody stands and waits for the carts to come out, and then they basically rush to the carts and you start digging. And there are older carts, but the best stuff is on the new carts because it's all the brand new stuff. So what it was is that old garage rolling, like from a mechanic. He used to lay on them, and I think they might still use them. But this one was old school. It was so, oh, you guys, it was so stinking cool. And it had the best wheels. And I'm like, I could have made the coolest sign on it. But needless to say, she kept it. I even followed her around a bit in the bins. I felt like a stalker, but she never put it back. And then I stumbled upon all these records, and I'm going to use them for my retreat, but I wanted to do one for just myself. I couldn't give them all up. And so you guys, I love how it's gonna look, or how it looks in my home decor. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And I guess the best part of the video is I actually created items for myself, which I rarely do. I'm always creating for my booths, for others. And it was nice that I picked 2 items that I created for myself and I can put into my home decor. And it just challenged me to slow down and just incorporate one more thing into my busy life. So thank you, Debbie, for asking me to be part of this challenge. And I can't wait to see what everybody else creates with their thrift store finds. All right, guys, this is part of a playlist. So you better go down in the description and grab that playlist and watch all the other amazing creators. I honestly don't even know who's all part of the challenge, but I'm gonna go down and I am gonna watch that playlist myself. So until the next one, you guys have yourself a great day and get out thrifting. Bye.